let's start. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, or simply good day. My name is Robert Trebsky. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Director International Business with Austmine, and I will be the host for today's webinar. I would like to welcome our members, supporters, but it is a great pleasure to welcome our colleagues from Vedanta who have joined us from India. So welcome to the webinar.
Thank you.
Just a few housekeeping orders. The webinar has been recorded, so if you will have access to the presentation and audio after the webinar. We will be distributing this. Please remind us. And also for the Q&A session, can we go maybe for the next slide? For the Q&A session, which is at the end of the presentation, at the bottom of your screen, you have the Q&A box. So please use the Q&A box if you should have any question, comments, rather not than the chat box. Okay. So use please the Q&A box. So the agenda for today is, after the welcome and introductions, I will be giving you a little bit of an overview about the two programs that we will be presenting and what do they mean for you and obviously for the collaboration with Vedanta and future companies in India. Then we will hear from our colleagues from Vineet Jaiswal about Vedanta, which is, a very impressive companies. We will then, actually we changed a little bit the order, but I will give you an understanding of the challenge process, how it works to participate in the challenge working with Vedanta. And then we will have our colleagues from Vedanta again presenting challenge 1 and challenge 2. Then we will see the critical dates for the process. And then last but not least, we have the Q&A session where you can submit questions. So we encourage submitting questions throughout the process. They can be for the Austmine team and obviously for the Vedanta team. So that's the agenda. If you could go please to the next slide. And so I would like to introduce, well, obviously myself as Robert Trebsky, my colleague Sheldon Varco, Manager International Projects, who just joined the international team recently, is actually on leave. He's been traveling through Europe. And also would like to introduce newer member of the international team, the project coordinator, Stefan, who's based in Perth and is behind the scene doing all this technical magic. So thanks to the Austmine team. Also, we have Hailey who is supporting this webinar. So thanks, guys. Next slide, please. So before I go into this slide, I would like to give a little bit of a taste of why we embark on this program that is supported by 2 government departments. But actually, the very first mission that Austmine has ever taken was to India. And as you know, Austmine has been around for 30 years. And the very first international trade mission that Austmine did take then was in 1991. And it was actually in collaboration with Coal India and some of the other mining companies in India and Australia that actually don't really exist anymore, though they changed names. Then we obviously worked over many years alongside with Austrade, the Australian Trade Commission. We had developed a very good relationship with the team and supported their works and their projects. And more recently, you might have seen that for the last year and a half, we did work with Tata Steel on the InnoVenture program, basically delivering the InnoVenture program around Australia. And that was a successful program. And that caught the Department of Industry eye, and I said, hey, why don't we just go in a deeper dive into developing this relationship with the Indian mining sector. And so this slide shows you that we have 2 programs that we are currently delivering, have been delivering since the 1st of July. One is the Global Mining Challenge India. As you see, is funded by the Department of Industry, Science, Energy and Resources. And it is basically meant to establish collaboration between key mining companies in India and the Australian METS suppliers to develop innovative technology solutions. There is more detail on this on our website. I don't want to go too deep, but this is a longer-term project, basically over 4 years till June 2023, that will give Australian METS companies the opportunity not only to work with mining companies in India, such as Vedanta, Tata Steel, and others, to join the program, but also to get an understanding of the Indian market, how to do business, how to enter the market, but also develop relationships with the local suppliers. So this is a program that we will be delivering over the next 4 years, and there'll be more actors joining this. As more information is on our website. Next slide, please. Then we also are delivering a program that is funded by the Australia-India Council, which is part of the of DFA, the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade, called the Australia-India Mining Innovation Program, which is slightly different to the previous one and looks at educating and maybe training the Australian METS on working in India. So it's more focused on the mentoring, training, educating Australian companies how to work with Indian companies and other stakeholders in India, specifically around the ESG expectations. So that's the AIMIP, if you like, acronym. So more details on these two programs are on our website. Next slide. So just how do these challenge processes work? I mean, you might be familiar with the program that BHP and Austmine worked together for the last couple of years, this BHP Supply Innovation Program. And I'm sure you heard enough, plenty of presentation from my colleague Martin Collat, our Chief Collaboration Officer. But the principle is very similar. So if you look on the left-hand side, where I have used Vedanta's logo, Vedanta will come up working with us with a number of challenges. And if we start the journey from left to right, and I don't want too much detail, but the challenges that identified, we put it to the market to scout the market for best solutions to technology scouting. Then those companies that believe they might have a solution or work towards the solution themselves, or maybe in a collaboration with another supplier, submit conceptual solution for these to be reviewed and jointly between Austmine and Vedanta, we will then create a shortlist, and then we go down into the next stages, basically where those shortlisted vendors or METS suppliers will then join the challenge briefing. So the basic scenarios, those challenge owners from Vedanta will give a technical briefing, and everything's online. And then those companies, Australian METS companies, will have the opportunity to ask questions and gather as much intelligence as they can and the next step will be run the pitch sessions. So the pitch sessions will be one company, one supplier, METS supplier at a time, pitching to Vedanta's challenge owners. Next one. So usually this pitching sessions per company are no longer than 10 minutes. That means that allows the pitching and the Q&A with the Vedanta challenge owners. Then you'll be asked to submit a formal proposal, which technically consists of a economic and then technical proposal. And in the very next stages are basically Vedanta will then themselves evaluate proposals, the formal proposals, and select those companies to work on awarding a pilot project. And then that's where the vendor companies start working directly with Vedanta on more commercial terms on award and a pilot. Again, this is something that we used in the past. If you have any questions, please ask in the Q&A box, but there's plenty of information and you might have participated in previous challenge presentation with the BHP Supply Innovation Program. Next slide. Next slide. Thank you. Again, this I don't want to go into too much detail, but what is to be taken out of from these two slides is basically the timelines, which is at the bottom. So this process, if working between a mining company, Austmine and suppliers, everything goes optimally, shouldn't take more than 3 to 4 months from basically launching the challenge to then identifying the best solutions for the company, in this case to Vedanta. Next slide, please. So it is a very comprehensive and quick process. The other beauty of this process is that you will have the opportunity to talk to the challenge owner, being usually operational managers. So they are the challenge owners, they have the problem, so you will have the opportunity to directly ask questions about, what is this challenge about, how can we help, and so on. So this challenge briefings provide you with direct access to the challenge owners. Again, I don't want to spend too much time, but the process is pretty clear. But if you have any other questions beyond that, please ask in the Q&A session or contact myself or the rest of the team. Next slide. Going to maybe a more complex, we believe we can maybe develop what we call the collective challenge process. That means that we will have several miners working on one challenge that is around decarbonization, wastewater, energy or e-mobility, working collectively on, without being competitors in that field, because something like ESG should not be an advantage. Saving lives should be, a must for all of the companies. So this is something that we would like to develop at some stage, working with other mining companies, not only in India, but it's just to give you a concept of the collective challenge process. I think this is my last slide. So if you go to the next slide, it is now a great pleasure to invite Mr. Vineet Jaiswal, who is the Chief Digital and Technology Officer at Vedanta, to give you an overview of Vedanta's business, which is at a scale it's very impressive. So Vineet, can I ask you to spend some time and tell us all about Vedanta and its business? Thank you.
Sure, Robert. Thanks a lot and welcome everyone. I look forward to a lot of great ideas. But before that, on Vedanta, we are a metal and mining company. We are in a lot of different business, right? From zinc to aluminum, to iron, to oil, copper, you name a metal, and most probably we are there. A lot of presence in India, few presence outside also. We used to be in Australia also. So a lot of interest on the metal and mining space. Very focused on doing the ESG way, how to really make sure whatever we do, we impact both like society as well as very sustainable growth. That's our idea, and that's the reason a lot of things which we do, we try to see how can we really be sustainable in whatever we do. Now, coming back to the startup ecosystem, we started a program for startup ecosystem little over a year now, and a lot of startups are already working with us. We call this program as the Spark program. So any startup can come there, register, and try to solve that. This is another approach we have right now tied up with Austmine to give more opportunity to startups to come and work with us. This is more of an innovation challenge. We call it innovation challenge because there are things which is there in market. We want to know the best or a new way of solving the same problem. Like currently, we are going to talk about two of the challenges, and few leaders are there. They'll give details, but at a broader level, one is in zinc business, another is in aluminum business. On the zinc business, we have a challenge of network. So underground mines, we want to make sure at the most effective, cost-effective way to transfer data from one place to. We have about every mines. We have multiple mines, about 8 mines, if I really call it, right? If I have to join them together, right? So 8 mines, and we have an average 100 to 200 kilometers of distance in each of the mines or few of the mines. we may have coverage for about 30% to 70%. It all depends on the size of the mines and all that. But what we want to have the 100% connectivity. That's our vision, that all the assets are connected. We have the visibility 24/7 so that we can utilize our asset as best, make sure the whole ecosystem for human and machine interaction is very safe. Right? That's a vision as a long term. To do that, we want network, right? There are technologies like 5G, but we want to hear what are the different approaches. If somebody has tried, what is the best in the world to solve this problem and cost-effective way, right? So we will have leaders from SZL. Now on the aluminum side, got a lot of focus on the carbon footprint. We want to make sure whatever we make is the most effective way, right? Environmental friendly. So in that, we would love to hear some thoughts. So Bibu from aluminum and Manoj Siddiqui from zinc business will talk about that. There are more people who will talk, but just a broader view about ourselves. Always reachable. You can reach out to me or any of our leaders for any question. But thank you guys for joining here and I will look forward to a lot of great ideas from all of you. Thanks, Robert.
Thank you, Vineet. And yes, absolutely. We look forward. This is an exciting journey for Austmine, but not only for Austmine, for the Australian Mets and generally international collaboration. So thank you very much. So now it is a pleasure to invite Manoj Soni, Vice President and Location Head of Hindustan Zinc Limited, to present the first challenge on the ground mining network connectivity. Manoj, please. You are on mute.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you. And thanks, Vineet, for having a brief introduction about Vedanta. So I will just talk about a little bit about Hindustan Zinc, because this challenge is particularly limiting to Hindustan Zinc. Hindustan Zinc is producing close to 1 million ton of lead and zinc, and approximately 750 tons of silver. And I think globally we are the largest integrated lead and zinc supplier with the cost in the first quartile. So very, very impressive balance sheet of around 55% positive EBITDA year-on-year basis. And we have a resource and reserve already identified for next 20-25 years. So great path. And as Vineet has told, digital is our Q value driver. And we have been investing on digital for the past many years. All our plants are modern plants. Now coming to the mines, now earlier our mines, we have a mix of open cast mine and underground. And the last 3-4 years now we have migrated to all underground mines. And as Vineet has told, we have 7 to 8 mines. And each mine is in the vicinity of say 100 to 200 kilometers apart, except some in the same locations. Now, all these mines are having the current state of the art equipments, which is mostly manufactured by global equipment suppliers like Sandvik and Atlas, which is now Epiroc, and CAT, Caterpillar, and Normat, and many like that. So we are currently operating a fleet of close to say 900 to 1,000 equipments in our various mines. And as any underground mine, pumping system, dewatering of the mine, the ventilation systems, the man-machine interaction, which is basically safety type requirements. So I think all these are required for any underground mine, and we want that digital is the way where we can have the best productivity out of all these systems which I have just spelled out.
Manoj, can I just interrupt? Do you need the next slide, maybe?
Yes, sir. Just go to the next slide, please.
Right,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah. So our minds, as I said, that we have 7, 8 minds, and all these minds are in various stages of digital maturity. Some minds are highly advanced, where we have um, few levels of connectivity, which is um, say digital data transfers connectivity systems, and also the people to people communication or the control room communication. So mostly the data transfer is happening through optic fiber type setup, and the people connectivity or verbal connectivity is happening through through leaky feeder. And both these technologies are not new, I would say. They are existing in the industry for many years. Now, coming to the challenge, that trucks and loaders and some of these equipments are mobile equipments. They keep moving from stoves to the surface, and whenever they comes to the network zone, the data is getting transferred, whether it is equipment health monitoring data or whether it is equipment to equipment interaction data. So all these data are coming to the surface. Um, but some of the areas, the development phases, and the development phases, I'm sure there are many people sitting over here must be familiar with the mining operation. That the mining operation after exploration is the first is the development of the mine, followed by drilling and blasting, and followed by hauling and hawking. So our challenge is limiting ourselves is towards development phases, and development phases is a completely moving phase, that we keep drilling, blasting, and then move ahead and then move ahead. So there is no possibility of having a fixed type networking solutions. So that's where basically we are intending that the global people who has pioneered to work in this direction, they identify a solution for development phases, and in development we have close to say 100 jumbo, and they are basically monitored and managed through manual type of engagement, where people go download the information and then do a troubleshooting, or they are basically monitored by people directly going and identifying the problems. So that's where we need global support. Potentially, if you see, these equipments have a utilization or of around say 17%, and these are very costly machines. So our first intention is to improve the utilization by real-time monitoring to say 25-26% or better, which has a huge financial benefit. So I think maybe just go to the next slide, please. Yeah. So I think I explained about the problem, and the requirement from this solution is to maintain a constant communication between man, machine, and the control room, facilitate data communication, a simpler solution with the minimum type of equipments underground, because and we all know that what is the type of environment underground mines have. So a conducive setup will be certainly a ask for it, and deploy and scale up, because there are so many mines we have. So if we can do the pilot at one place, which is helpful, then we can multiply horizontally, deploy across our all the mines, and also identify that how we can also improve the safety, and that safety is by reducing the interaction between machine to machine, man to machine, and the equipment health. So I think this is the brief about this challenge, Robert.
Thank you very much, Manoj. As there are questions flowing, so thanks for sharing this. We can go into more detail during the Q&A session. So I would like now to invite Vidhu Mohanty to brief us on the challenge number 2, which is reducing net carbon consumption in pot lines. Vidhu, over to you, please.
Thank you, Robert. As already in the inaugural speech, Mr. Bineet said that we are strongly going towards decarbonization also. And in fact, carbon consumption is also a business case for us, wherein a lot of cost is incurred. So the challenge over here, which has been floated from aluminium sector, is the reduction of net carbon consumption in smelting operation at pot lines. So the carbon is basically it is the anode part. As we know, in an electrolytic cell there is a cathode and an anode. So here our anode is a carbon block. So the carbon block gets consumed within a span of, and we change it within a span of 28 days. So our challenge is how to reduce the consumption of this carbon. Presently we are at a baseline of around 421 kg per ton of aluminium, wherein global benchmarks are in the tune of 405 to 410. It is not only a decarbonization journey, but also a big value benefit of around $13 million only for our Jharsuguda Vedanta Jharsuguda smelter, and also it can be replicated at my Balco plant, which is another smelters nearby. We can go to the next slide. So as I said, what is the problem? The problem statement is aluminum smelting requires anodes made of carbon-rich materials used in the release of aluminum oxide, as carbon is a good and inexpensive electrical conductor. So what happens when the electrolysis takes place? Alumina, that is Al2O3, dissociates into aluminium cations and O minus anions. So the O minus gets reacts with the carbon block and gets released in terms of CO2 gases. Additionally, calcined petroleum coke CPC, which is being used in the anode production, is also in the short supply and the quality required to optimize the anode performance. There are many challenges in getting the right recipe, as the good quality CP coke is not available widely, and also there is a cost constraint. We have already tried many technologies and innovative interventions for reducing, like top surface coating with some novel material of alumina and silicon based paste. It is at a trial phase, but not 100% successful. It is during a trial implementation is going on. Apart from that, we have also done many interventions in improvement of the covering quality. What happens whenever the anode change happens, then we cover it with a specific material consisting of a recipe of alumina and cryolite. So what happens, this saves the surface oxidation, thereby reducing the carbon consumption. So this quality has been also improvised a lot, giving good benefits, and is under implementation phase as well. So what will be the requirement from our side, how to, if at all any intervention is there, so it has to be minimize the downtime of the pots or the electrolytic cell. It cannot be taken offline, so for a larger period of time. So that is the solution must have this thing. And also any chemical or any other solution, if it is being done, it should not affect my metal purity, as we know that aluminium purity of the finished product plays a very vital role in the secondary market. So we cannot, it should not affect the metal purity. Apart from that, it should reduce the net carbon consumption in the pot line, which is a big business case for us. So that is all about the challenges, and we can go ahead with the Q&A session in answering, as our CEO, Mr. Nitin Tiwari, is also there. My head of carbon, Mr. Devangan, is also there in the panelist, and Mr. Vivek Saxena, who is heading our Center of Excellence. They all are there. So now it is up to the Q&A session. Robert, you can take over.
Thank you very much, Bidu. So thanks for presenting the two challenges. Just very briefly, before we go to the Q&A session, the deadline to submit your expressions of interest or concept solutions is 26th of August, so a good 10 days. We will, and then the next dates, as you can see, it will be 19th of September for the technical briefing, 26th of September for the pitch sessions, and then ultimately 14th of October for submissions. We want to stick to those deadlines as much as we can, but you know, if there is a little bit more time required, they can be adjusted slightly. But and this is just basically the timeline for the two challenges. Okay, so next slide. So we now proceed to the Q&A session, and we have a few questions, and I read them out, and whoever from the Vedanta team feels best qualified to respond, please do so. So the first one is from Jake Rubenheimer. A ventilation on demand system would also be able to be added to the off-grid communication system. Would this be of interest? This would incur massive savings in terms of operating costs. So who would like to answer this question?
Yeah, I can talk about that, but of course, as a company, we did work on ventilation of demand proposals, but I think the ask for setting up ventilation in demand requires many infrastructural changes in terms of automatic gates and those type of things. So I think we would like to once again evaluate, and when we worked, we did not find many opportunities in the past. But if the partner feels that there is a huge value attached to it, we would like to once again work on it and identify opportunity as further.
Thank you, Manoj. So the next question is from Brett Harris. Is a new real-time carbon monitoring dashboard that tracks carbon emission as your process adjusts minute by minute? Is this of interest?
Yeah, I will answer to it. It is not about carbon emissions where we are concerned over here. It is about the consumption of the carbon in terms of, yes, there are real-time carbon monitoring system dashboards are already there in place, wherein day in, day out, we are what you say, tracking about how much is the carbon consumption from a specific section of the smelter. So the real-time monitoring is also there, and it has helped a lot in what we say, set writing the operational practices, wherein if something goes off track.
Okay, Bidu, thank you. Another question from Brett. Does Vedanta have a good understanding control of scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions? Further,
yes, we have understanding about the scope 1, 2, 3 and emissions. And regarding about the MCACC analysis, I don't have the clear idea. I'll get in touch with my environment department, and we can answer that later.
Thank you, Bidu. Okay, now we have a question from Ravi. While implementing man-machine interaction, we faced, well, it's a question or maybe comment. We faced challenge when any person with tag is available in manhole in decline haulage road. Then we get alarm in HEMM. So how to avoid false alarms so that system may not be neglected during the actual interaction? So I believe that's a comment. So how to avoid false alarm? Okay. Again, it would be going probably to Manoj.
Siddiqui, you want to answer this?
Actually, Ravi, we are putting up a different challenge altogether. Okay? Right now, what we are trying to do here is to put up a challenge regarding our communication systems in the voice and data in areas of development and maybe in the crosscuts deeper. where we need additional communication. That's what we are trying to put up as a challenge. What you have put up as a comment regarding the present deployment of man-machine interaction system that we are putting up. So it's altogether a different area.
Okay, I understand. Thank you. Okay, the next question from Corey. For the NCCs, for the challenge, are you considering driven approaches to better understand performance and usage, and not only the approaches you mentioned?
For the NCC challenge, we are very open about the about the approach. It just for an example, we have said what different approaches we have already started. If at all any other approach or any innovative intervention has been there, or any disruptive intervention can give us a good saving in terms of NCC challenge, then we are very open.
And in addition to Vibhu's point, we are also looking forward for some of the supply chain cost-effective solution, as well as some of the modern technologies which are getting implemented, some of the OEMs like Rio Tinto, Alcoa. So we are also looking forward for such kind of technological interventions together.
Thank you, Jay, for the feedback. Okay, so the next one is from Dane. For the underground mine network connectivity challenge, is optic fiber and DC power or PoE available at the cross-cut entries? And is there a map available for the cross-cut that requires 100% coverage?
I'll take that. Yes, we do have the maps available for the areas we would like to cover. Second part is regarding the availability of optic fiber and PoE. So optic fiber, the present deployment is in some levels you will have at the entry point, but it's mostly deployed in the ramp area or the main roads which are there of the tunnels. Not in all the entrances of the levels. So wherever we need in terms of the producing levels, we do have optic fiber available. In terms of power, it's not DC power. That 110 volt AC is what is available.
Okay.
But that's at the entrance side. Okay. So the solution that we are seeking is more towards portability, so that we can have a portable solution that needs to be put up in one crosscut where the work is going on, and then maybe move it to another crosscut where we need to move it. So portability is one of the most required features of the solution that we're looking for.
Thank you very much for that. Okay, so there's one more another question for challenge number 1 from Stefan. Hello, in the challenge number 1, is there any collision avoidance dimension, or is it mostly live positioning or for production purpose? Who would like to take up this question?
In the current challenge, what we are looking for is to have the data management system from production equipments, or production equipment is mostly development areas.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Are there any other questions? We got a couple of minutes. There was a question from James whether there will be other, technologies, other solution for startups can be presented to Vedanta. I believe at some stage we will have other opportunities, maybe a little bit outside some challenges, but this is the beginning of a relationship, of a project. So stay tuned. There'll be obviously no other projects that might eventuate from this relationship. Okay, so there's one more question. Let's see. All right, so that was a question from James Stewart. Look, if there's no further questions, did I miss anything? I believe I haven't. So I would like to first thank the Vedanta team for participating in this. The process will be that some of the suppliers that could not attend the session today, they will listen to the recording and watch the presentation. There might be more questions to be sent to us. Those of you online, that might have, maybe questions tomorrow or the next few days, please send these to myself or Stefan or Sean, but myself. I will forward this to the Vedanta team to respond. As I said, we'll be sending a follow-up email with the deadlines and what's next. And so if you have a solution that you believe could fit in for challenge 1 or challenge 2, do not hesitate to go online. And it's a fairly simple process. Maybe it will take you maybe an hour to submit a concept solution. Do so if you believe you would like to work on this. So again, thank you very much to the Vedanta team for joining us today, and we look forward to working on these 2 and many other challenges in the next 4 years. And we'd like to thank our team, obviously our members and supporters for joining us today. It's an exciting journey, and I would like to maybe highlight a few events. Certainly IMME is one of the key events in India for the mining industry, and it is in Kolkata from the 16th to the 19th of November. It's an exhibition and the conference or streams of workshops. We will be working with Austrade, with Australian Trade Commission, which is part of the Australia-India Business Exchange. There will be an Australian pavilion, as you can see. We'll be sending more information on this, but the event has been actually published now. So if you're interested in exhibiting or participating in whatever shape and form, please contact the Austrade team. It is going to be a great event, and I'm sure Vedanta will be present at this event. The next slide, please. We have a few webinars and events coming up. Just in the interest of time, the ESG webinar is on the 31st of August, and we have a few events. The GMG forum in Perth starting tomorrow. A very great, very exciting program. So if you are in Perth, don't miss out. Then we have the Alligator Energy Smart Mining Networking event on the 23rd of August in Adelaide, and Idemitsu Australia Smart Mining Networking event in Brisbane on the 25th of August. So we'll keep you entertained. Wherever you are, please attend these events, and obviously there will be a lot more coming up. The 2 key events is certainly IMAC in Sydney in early November, and obviously the Austmine conference in 2023 in Adelaide in May next year. So again, thank you very much, everyone, for your participation. We look forward to other challenges coming from the Vedanta team in the future. As I said, here are contact details. Do not hesitate to reach out to learn more about this and other initiatives within the programs. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and until next time, all the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.